Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I'm pretty sure you know that one definition of madness or insanity, doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome. Well, this is kind of like what the West does. So far, I don't think they were successful in the fight against Russia in Ukraine. Nevertheless, they do the same thing, pump more weapons and same results, and basically not winning anything. Maybe they're winning time and selling their weapons, that's a win-win for them, but not for us as societies. But hey, in the meantime, while we are at it and winning so much, the Russians and the Chinese and the rest of the world, which is about 153 other countries at least, because we consider the 40 on the plantation being on one side, they are forging tighter, which sometimes is good, relations. Not relations in all kind of unimportant areas, but in the military cooperation. Again, it's not, no offense here, Zimbabwe with, Honduras. Look at the size and all that, but it's Russia and China. They say that their alliance, they don't call it alliance, but their relationship, their cooperation is better than an alliance. And now the Chinese Minister of Defense meets one of the most important military officers in Russia, and they meet in Beijing. And for what? To increase their military cooperation. Put this next to what happened in the last meeting between Blinken and the foreign minister of China and Xi Jinping, the president of China, which they said, yeah, we can talk economically. Yes, militarily, we're not talking to you. That's what happened. So what does that tell you? 2 weeks ago, whenever Blinken visited Beijing, they said, yeah, we'll talk. We're going to do business with you economically. We're going to do commerce, and that's fine. Militarily, no, because you are not our friend, I think. Well, we can do business, that's fine. We're going to keep working, sending you those things. We invest over here. You give us this, we give you that, and that's it. But we know what you want to do to us, and we're not going to accept that, which is turn us into a vassal state. And how can we do that? By having big guns. And alone is harder than with someone else. So look what's happening here. In the meantime, they said no militarily, and now they meet the Chinese meet the Russians. Isn't that obvious? So is that a win for us or it's a loss for us? I mean, it's very, very, very obvious that a loss for us and a win for them. And that weasel Yellen, the secretary of how do you call it? Not finance, not economy. How do you call it? Secretary of whatever she is with the bankings and with the economy. Let me find her title because always this Yellen escapes her title. Just a second. I'm sorry, she is Dr. Yellen, and she's the secretary of Jesus Christ. I'm like crazy. Secretary of Treasury. I'm like, I can't remember that word somehow, treasury, whatever she is. So she is going to travel, she confirmed that she's going to travel to China after Blinken and the Chinese agreed to cooperate economically. That means trade, that's all. So let me show you this article. I have 3 articles ready for you. Let's start with the first one, which is from Sputnik. Chinese Defense Minister, Russian Navy Commander-in-Chief meet in Beijing. This is one article, and I'm quoting, Chinese Defense Minister Li Shangfu held a meeting with Commander-in-Chief of the Russian Navy Nikolai Yevmenkov in Beijing on July 3rd, the ministry said in a statement. During the meeting, the minister expressed the hope that China will expand cooperation with the Russian Navy to jointly contribute to maintaining peace and stability in the region and across the world. So their alliance is not only here, it's around everything, everybody. The statement said, That shows to me like they have really intentions of opposing the plantation of the United States. The Russian Navy commander-in-chief in turn told the Chinese defense head during the meeting that Russia attaches great importance, I don't know if it was attaches or attaches great importance to the strengthening of cooperation between the military of the two countries, as quoted by the Chinese ministry. Russia is also ready to expand contacts with the Chinese Navy at all levels and conduct joint exercises and patrols, Yevmenkov was quoted as saying. So this is one. The other one comes from these guys here, Bloomberg, and this is very important because it was reported by these weasels. China says it wants more cooperation with Russia's military. Now, if this is not concerning, I don't know what it is. China said it wants closer ties with Russia's military, a sign Moscow still has Beijing support after the aborted Wagner mutiny. Well, you guys make this as a big deal, the mutiny, and again, still has Beijing support. No, it has moreover more support, so nothing actually happened. So this article says Russia supposedly Wagner thing, which as I said is like Ford Motors riots in the United States of America against the government, has zero chances by itself. But hey, these guys made, oh my God, Wagner rebellion. Okay, what do you think? It would have created a little problem because the Russians had to destroy them and obviously have some losses in the process. But that would be the end of it, unless the Russian military would have splintered. So in this case, these guys say, well, because of the Wagner, the Chinese were scared and they... No, on the contrary, their cooperation, it was high already, now it's going to go higher. It didn't go down, it's going to go higher. It's not even at the same... Well, that's why the weasels, how do they make it sound a sign that Moscow still has Beijing support. It has the support and extra right now. And it says Chinese Defense Minister Li Shangfu said in a meeting Monday with Nikolai Yevmenkov, Commander-in-Chief of the Russian Navy, that, and I'm quoting, with the joint efforts of both sides, the relations between the two militaries will continue to deepen and solidify, constantly make new progress and reach a new level. Well, at the end, you reach an end, right? I mean, so this is another article that came from Bloomberg, and I have another one here that comes from Russia Today, obviously. This is the defense minister, Li Shangfu, and Chinese defense chief wants to expand cooperation with Russia. Beijing and Moscow should continue boosting ties to contribute to regional and global stability, Li Shangfu says. Now, this guy did not talk to the, unfortunately, have to say it, American weasels, which are, what's his name, Lloyd Austin and Mark Milley, not for long, because Lloyd Austin is going to be joined by another Lloyd Austin. All right, and then they will not discuss with the Chinese. But I'm very concerned for our military leadership because I think it decreases in ability, and therefore we're gonna be exposed. Hire people based on merits, and then you will have the result. Whatever, man. I think that in the next 20 years that I'm gonna be on this planet, nothing crazy could happen that I can do anything about it anyway. So here it is. Concern? Now just go and watch your little TV over there and consume, and most of all, shut up. If this is not concerning, I don't know what it is. And what does the United States do? They got the hint. They isolated everyone. Saudi Arabia turned to Moscow and Beijing and tries to create a little friendship club over there in the Middle East without the Americans being involved. Turn its back to these guys. It's important. The Chinese are, and the Russians are creating a new club. The Indians are getting as much as they can from both sides. But they're not with the United States. South America is looking with Brazil and the creation of the El Sur, right? I think that's how it's called, the new currency they want to put in place. Argentina and Brazil spoke, and Venezuela wants that too. And many other countries over there wants to join that. They want to join the BRICS organization and Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Then you have the African continent being mostly going towards Russia and China. So what do you have left? United States, you got Canada, okay? You got Australia, maybe New Zealand, right? You got China, you got Japan, you got South Korea, and you got the some weasel European countries that I think at one point will break. Will say, you know what? I think independence is better, or you change. So that's all they got. They are a club. And the rest is forging more and more and more closer, tighter connections and relationship. If this is not concerning, what the hell? What triggered this? I think an attempt to say now we're going to give the death blow to the other side or the other, and we're going to take over like a hegemony, clear hegemony. Well, the problem is Russia and these guys had said, no, you're way too early. And the problem is the same thing as, I'm sorry to make this analogy, but it sounds very close to me. If you're familiar with the Second World War, Hitler, that bad guy, said, I have to invade, I have to, based on their planning and so on, the communists, Russia, destroy the communists before they get too strong, too powerful. Because, Stalin purged his military personnel, the generals and all that, so they didn't have officers, commanders, and then didn't have them at all. They destroyed a lot of them through the purge. And then you had a very backward military, the equipment. If you remember, the German officers were training the Soviet military, if you remember that one. And the Soviet military were allowing the Germans to do some hanky-panky in Soviet Union. So why? Because Germany was still under the sanctions after the First World War, the limitations. So the Soviets opened up their fields over there, so the German pilots could practice in Soviet Union and not in Germany. Anyway, so Hitler said, I gotta do it now before it grows too strong. I'm not ready, he said, I'm not ready, but they are right now better now than if I wait, because if I wait a little bit longer, he said, to get ready, they will be much ready than are right now. And besides, the guy, the evil guy, Hitler, said that you shouldn't wage war if you're past, I can remember, 60 or something. You should wage war in the late 40s and early 50s, when you are at the pinnacle of your mental and physical fitness. Well, that's exactly when he was. Well, whatever, there you take that. But this is what he said. So the same here. The Americans thought that what happens in Ukraine, it should have probably happened earlier when Russia was weaker, but it didn't get fast enough over there. And Russians right now, they said, now we're going to oppose you in Ukraine after 2014, 2015, and we're strong enough. And these guys said, yeah, we couldn't speed up the process. These guys already grew stronger. And it shows. It shows because you have this side with all these 40 countries pumping everything in Ukraine, and they will, pump more until the last Ukrainian will be alive over there. And the other guys are not collapsing. So it's one country, Russia, against NATO countries. And they're still there. The only thing that's missing is military personnel. But the same, Russia keeps a lot of personnel over there waiting when NATO will decide to really try, maybe, to hit them with the last blow with the military. But I think Russia will say, we're not going to fight with you conventionally. I'm ready. Come closer. Let's do it. Bring it on. And I think the guys, that's how probably will end up, unless these guys stop financing this and realize that Russia stabilized at the level of this war. They can continue, as Medvedev said, permanently. Ukrainians are going to die more, unfortunately, and they're going to get lost first because they had a smaller population. And these guys are going to pump as much as they can. What's going to happen? Continuous war? Perpetual? In the meantime, the Chinese and the Russians are strengthening their military cooperations, and they deny, the Chinese deny any cooperation with the US. Not even contact. Hey, what's up? Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.